Elsie? Who's Elsie?
LCA.
Oh, Lights, Camera, Action.
That'll be the one.
Woohoo! Good afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to our third episode of Riffs,
Myths.
and Memorabilia.
And actually, we're coming to you from Cheney's Vaults. That's CHENIES VOLTZ. A very interesting space that is a studio and an R&R area. You might want to look it up on the internet. Well, that is Black Knight.
That is Black Knight. Who might have written Black Knight?
Well, certainly not the band that played it.
No.
That was actually ripped off, I know that.
Yeah. Shall I do another one? I'll do another
Okay. Well, I don't know that, that's Burn. I love Burn.
Yeah.
I think it's great track.
one.
But I don't think that's ripped off. Do you?
No, I don't think that's I think that's pretty
But Black Knight was definitely, and even Blackmore admits that.
Yeah.
He got it from some old track, picked up the riff, and sort of remodelled it
Yeah.
for Black Knight.
Well, if you haven't guessed, today we're talking about Deep Purple. I absolutely love Deep Purple. That's quintessentially prog rock to my ears, I would say. That whole, we touched on it briefly in another episode, but that whole thing where the musicians in there had a brilliant experience coming out of jazz and blues and stuff, and used that sort of progressive approach where they build sections and chord progressions and have this, it's as far from a pop song as you could ever be. It wasn't verse, chorus, end. It was, they put an instrumental in here, they put another bridge in here. It was such an exciting way, I think, of tracking music.
A lot of improvisation, which gradually turned into a track.
Yeah, exactly.
And with Deep Purple, what made them really famous was Live in Japan.
Yeah. Oh.
That was the album that made them. My Woman from Tokyo.
Woman from Tokyo, there
Yes.
we go.
I'll just say this about Deep Purple. It's an interesting mix of individuals.
Yeah.
You've got John Lord, who to me was the soul of Deep Purple.
Yeah.
And Ian Pace driving those drums along, just Roger Glover, the producer, the sort of anchor, for want of a better expression. Yeah. And then Gillan and Blackmore fighting it out on the stage. And I'm more famous than you. No, I'm more famous than you. And I'm more popular than you. And that was really the decline of Purple, that battle.
Became a bit unhinged, I think.
Yeah, it did. And sent Blackmore into these sort of demonic sort of tricks on people at night time to try and upset them. I haven't got much memorabilia from Deep Purple. The one thing I do have is a Barry Wenzel photograph, which is a very grainy photograph of Blackmore with a Stratocaster, and he's swinging it down like this, and it actually traces.
Oh, lovely.
It's a beautiful photograph. You've got their neck just tracing all the way down.
That must be several exposures, I would think, to get that.
I don't know how Wenzel did it, but he did some really, really good grainy photographs. He did another one of Keith Emerson. But I've always hankered to get Blackmore to sign this. I mean, I've never had the opportunity to speak to him and ask him, but it would be great to have that signed because it is a monumental photograph on its own. To me, that's a great bit of memorabilia. But I don't actually have any Deep Purple memorabilia. People don't, yet they had a really, really solid fan base.
Do you reckon that's in some part to the many different iterations of the band that they've undergone?
I think it has. You've got so many different incarnations, as you say, of Purple that it was like a revolving door.
Yes, at some points, yeah.
And I think for me, the real Purple is Blackmore, Pace, Lord, and Glover. But someone else would say no, it's what the Coverdale, Coverdale, Lord, Pace, and Blackmore, and Glenn Hughes. I love Purple, don't get me wrong. I really, really love Purple. But it's sectionalised.
Yes.
It's not Purple, it's bits of Purple.
Yeah.
There's some of the Coverdale stuff I love, some of the Blackmore and Gillan stuff I love. So it's broken up.
Yeah, and I guess no sort of version went they were very established and then they changed, so no version of Purple went any higher than the other one. Like, if you've got Beatles memorabilia, if it's got all of their signatures on, that's brilliant, but there's no one else you could sub in. Whereas Purple, like, you could get 15 people to sign it and
At
who would be
least.
relevant at some
At
stage
least
or
Nick
another.
Simper being one.
Yeah.
But basically, I think Purple really made it for me with Machine Head. That was a great album. Made in that hotel, in a corridor.
Yeah.
Claude Nobbs, what an unfortunate name, but everybody does. But there you go. You know, that was under pressure. And yet, for me, that's probably the best studio album they produced. Now, Albert's going to talk to us about a myth.
Myths.
Myths with Deep Purple, and it involves an axe, Richie Blackmore, a hotel room, a door, and Roger Glover, and a fire extinguisher.
Let me put that in context for you. So, the story goes, Purple were away in, I think it was a lovely old country house for a couple of weeks that the management put on for them, essentially as a writing escape, so they could go and work, you know, get some new material together. And if you're a musician out there, you'll know that when you're locked in a space like that, or you spend too much time in a studio trying to do something, you go a little bit crazy. The story goes that one night the band have turned in, ready for an early start the next day to crack on with some more stuff. Apart from Richie Blackmore, who you might have guessed was the protagonist in this story. So Blackmore wants to do a séance, as you do, and he needs a cross. And all the band have gone to bed, and they basically told him to, you know, F off, go to sleep yourself. He's like, no, I want to do a séance, So his last port of call was Roger Glover's bedroom.
Roger Glover being the sort of most congenial.
Yeah, probably the levelest of the lot of them.
Well, I think John Lord was, but Roger Glover, I think John Lord would have fired up at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Roger Glover was very congenial.
Yes. So Black was like, all right, I'll get one off of him. So he's banging on this door. Roger's trying to sleep. He's like, I need a cross, I want to do a séance. To the point where he's getting no response from Glover at all. He's just ignoring him, as you probably would do if your bandmates
I
are
think so,
doing
yeah.
it. So Blackmore goes down to the kitchen, gets the fire axe that is in the cabinet there, goes back up, and does a shining on Glover's door. He hacks his door down.
Here's Richie.
Yeah, here's Richie. To get this thing. Like, this is the point where Glover, as placid as he may have been, snapped. And he went absolutely ballistic at Blackmore. There's a fire extinguisher upstairs in the corridor, and he grabbed that and he was trying to hit him with him. And apparently Gillan sort of woke up in the night, looked out the window, and there's these two chasing around the garden, one with an axe and one with a fire extinguisher trying to get.
Oh my goodness, that should have been on film.
Yeah, or at least set to the Benny Hill theme tune.
Great to Benny Hill.
That is the alleged myth. So if you can help us out with that, if you've got any more information, that would be much appreciated, because the scene in my head is absolutely hilarious. Yeah.
And you know, I'd like to thank Greg who wrote in. Greg, we're so grateful to you, and this is exactly what we want. People saying, no, you're not correct, this is what happened. The more people that comment, the more we can research it and come to the definitive answer, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that brings in a special guest for us. Incensio.
Great Incensio!
Come down, make yourself known. Why we call him the Great Incensio is he doesn't actually smoke tobacco, he smokes incense, which is far more pleasant. So we'd like you to help us get his sparks up. And you're going to do that by commenting, giving us information, correcting us on stuff we get wrong.
Amazing. You good with that, Incensio?
Like, subscribe, and ring that bell.
Next week, we're going to be talking about a British blues rock band, four-piece, four very special musicians, a unique drummer, a special guitarist, a great vocalist, and a very unusual bassist. We'd like you to try and guess who this group is. The lead guitarist is dead. He didn't quite make the 27 Club. He was either short or slightly long of it. It's up to you to decide. But he did have a Gibson Sunburst. Is it Sunburst?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
a very valuable Sunburst, which was sold recently at auction. Who are we talking about?